Let's now go deeper with the analysis of ongoing protests in the United States. We are joined by James Early, member of the Board of Directors of the Institute of Political Studies in Washington, D.C. Welcome, James, to From the South.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be with you.
It's our pleasure to have you as well. James, we have seen for 9 days now protests across the nation against President Trump's migration policies and anti-migrant rhetoric. Today's come amidst Flag Day celebrations and the 250th anniversary of the Army, and are foreseen to be the largest in all 50 states. How do we get here, and what do these protest actions represent?
Well, what we are witnessing is citizens being proactive, demanding that the people that they have elected put forth governance policies both at the national or domestic level as well as in the international level that reflects their interest and their desires. Specifically, we are seeing a pushback, a resistance to the racialized anti-immigrant policies, not only of the Trump administration, but of the MAGA social movement, which also occupies a majority governance in major states across the United States. And while no King's Day is focused on the figure of Donald Trump, the megalomaniac that he is, the larger-than-life character that he tries to position himself as being, underneath this is a citizens movement, liberals, progressive, radicals, against the domestic policies that are harming particularly people of color, working-class people, transgendered people, immigrants. We're also seeing another kind of protest that is not out in the streets, but that is in the boardrooms, and that is many of the agricultural industries as well as the aqua industries where fish are grown, and in the hotel industry where migrants really are the working class supporters of that, significantly women, migrants from Latin America and the Caribbean and other places in the world, but specifically from Latin America and the Caribbean. So we are also seeing a pushback on the Trump administration. Now, the Trump administration is making an adjustment to those corporate entities who need manual labor, who need the intellectual labor of these migrants, many of whom are undocumented. But out in the streets, we have a cross-race, cross-class movement of everyday citizens who are pushing back against the dictatorship orientation of the Trump governance. He is trying to acquire all of the power in the executive branch and to turn the police forces as well as the military forces into his own governance instrument, which stands outside of the Constitution. So this is the broader context of what we're seeing going on in the United States in the celebration of the 250th anniversary of the U.S. Army and the Flag Day, which not so coincidentally is also the birthday of Donald Trump, his 79th birthday.
In these contracts also, James, we are witnessing strong differences among state authorities. For example, we saw in Florida threats of the security forces that were going to use heavy force to repress the protests. But then on the other hand, we were seeing in the governor of California say that he would take Trump to court for going over his mandate, what you were referring that he was using the police and the military to militarize the state of California in this case. How do we explain these differences, and how far can those legal actions go?
This is a very significant analytical distinction that you bring to our attention. There is the megalomaniac, the racist, the misogynist, the rapist, the corrupted Donald Trump, who occupies the executive branch. But then in state governance across the United States of America, there are the people who have been elected not only in relationship to Trump, but under the MAGA movement. The MAGA movement will last longer than Donald Trump. And so that we have to be careful that we don't just focus on Donald Trump. And the distinctions or the contradictions that you point out between the state of Florida, which is a very conservative, right-wing Cuban American, both Republican and Democrat dominated state, anti-Cuba, anti-immigration, um, is a right-wing state that is moving into authoritarianism and the same kind of racialized, homophobic, um, misogynistic governance in the state of Florida. The state of California, on the other hand, is a very diverse state of ethnic and racial groups, literally from all over the world, particularly coming out of Latin America. Recalling that the history of the western part of the United States, which includes California, was in the 19th century into the 20th century, the land of Mexico. And so while they changed the frontier and they changed the flag, they could not change the culture. And that the economies between Canada, the United States, and Central America, particularly Mexico, is an economy that really contests the limitations of flags and the limitations of citizenship. And so that the flow of goods and services, particularly of cheap labor, is critical to the sustenance of the economy in California and much of the southwestern part of the United States. But that economy is also critical to the stability of working class families in Mexico and other places in Central America in particular. So this is the largest socioeconomic complexity that we face. And so that we see these contradictions between the right-wing state governance and the more liberal, progressive democratic policies. The mayor of Los Angeles has pointed out, as well as the governor of California, that California is a state of immigrants, Filipinos, Chinese Americans, but significantly Mexican Americans and other Latin Americans. And so this is the contradiction that we're seeing, and they're putting some pressure on Donald Trump with regard to the agricultural fields of California, the aqua industry where fish are grown, as well as hotels where many of these immigrant workers and our new citizens who are coming in who have resident status. That is how they earn their living, and they send remesas or they send money back to Latin America and the Caribbean and other places in the world. So this is the complexity and the contradictions that we're facing.